Kia ora, welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm sitting here with my friend,
Handicap Brownjohn.
and I hope you enjoy this episode.
Oh, banger.
Straight up banger right there, and we're cranking into it. Good to have you, man.
Hey, good to see you.
Mate, listen, so this I actually was thinking, I was like, what was my first interaction with this guy? And, you know, there's just usual unipole banter, but there was this one time, I think it was about 2017, maybe 2016. So
That's
like
a while back. That's a while back.
And I just remember, like, I was trying to take a photo. I was just taking a photo, you know, like good old selfie. Yeah. And then as I was taking the photo, I just remember your leg.
Did I take it off?
You took it off.
Yeah.
And you gave it to me. And you're like, bro, take a photo of my leg. And I was like,
I remember that actually, yeah.
And then I was just like, wow, that's pretty cool, because it's one of those things where, like, some people are so on the spectrum with where they are, you know, body-wise and all that.
Yeah, true,
and
right.
you just, like, embrace it. And you're just like, bro, just like...
Oh, you put it between your legs, right?
I put it between my legs.
That's right, yeah.
So you, like, took your leg off, and you're just having a laugh about it, you know? But it's something that, like... Until you get to know someone, it's a real touchy, like, do we talk about it? Do we not talk about it?
Yeah, it's a bit touch and go, huh?
Exactly. So, like, someone who's embraced it, but just for everyone who's listening and, you know, haven't seen you before, what actually is happening body-wise?
Body-wise, I'm a below the knee amputee.
Right.
So I was born with amniotic band syndrome.
Sure.
They class it as, like, vascular disruption sequence as well.
Sure.
So I'm missing pretty much my ankle down. Half of my left fingers as well. Yeah. With a severe recessed chin and dental misalignment. So it's happened in my mum's womb. So,
yeah. So this is something that's been the norm for you
since
growing up.
Yeah, since birth really. So I knew nothing else but that.
So with that, you know, and coming through and then, you know, the upbringing that I guess you have to go through and just, you know, starting to realize that there's something different about you.
Yeah.
Like, how was that growing up, you know, because going through anything and you're starting to compare yourself to other people, it could be a difficult time. So, like, you, how was that?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Papua New Guinea in a small village called, it's kind of a city and a village, called Kokopo. And growing up, it was just first nature, not having a leg. Yeah. So I was hopping around without needing to have a prosthetic. And that's how I got built up for my right leg. Right. And that's how I was so athletic growing up. Yeah. But in time, I never knew anything. I was like, oh, this is me. Yeah. I'll just carry on what I'm doing. I never compared myself to someone else because I was my own person. Sure. And if I started to compare myself to other people, I'll start to drag away from what is right within me. Absolutely. Like, but yeah, it's so out of it because when I moved to Lay City from Kokopo, is where I started getting criticised about having one leg. Right. But yeah, it's kind of hard because as soon as you start getting words coming into you, people back chatting you and making rumours, making fun of you and all that stuff, you kind of have a sense of feeling that you're like a devil or like a monster. Yeah. I'm like, bro, that's really not me. Like, all I had to do was keep my eyes down, work as hard as I could to become who I was. Yeah. At the same aspect, it's like, who cares what people think? But sorry, I'll say lost in the moment.
No, you're all good. And so when you said that the first couple of years of life, like, you're just hopping around. So this is before prosthetic. And how old were you when you decided? Well, it's not that you decided, but like that became a part of your life, like actually moving into getting a secondary leg. Yeah,
so probably about at the age of 4. Right. Yeah, because pre 4, I was climbing trees without a leg. Sure. I was hopping around doing fucking, what do you call it? Lawnmower? Yeah. Kind of grass, whatever. Yeah, kind of grass without a leg, just hopping around. I could walk with it off. Right. So, you know how people, whenever they step on a stump, they can't stand up with it? Yeah. Yeah, I can just stand up. I can lean on my one stump and stand on that by itself. But yeah.
That's so cool. Like, I mean, it's cool, but then it's also like I think the big thing here is that you didn't know any different. And
exactly.
And it was the moving to a place where other people started to have like an idea of what normal was. Yeah. That's when things started like getting a little bit, that's when you start thinking, like, is this normal? Is this not? But with your parents and their involvement and your family as well, and your smaller community, because it just sounds like they just let you do your thing.
They do, bro.
Yeah.
I'm
so
free.
So when they were like, what were the things that they would do in terms of support that made you feel like this is all good?
In terms of support, bro, the biggest support for me, or from them to give me, was not doing anything.
Yeah.
And try not to baby me as much. And if I fell, don't baby me. If I did anything wrong, just let me be.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest factor for me. I remember, because having this, you know how I had no leg, I didn't get a prosthetic till 4.
Yeah.
After 4, I felt like it was, like, how do you say it? It was like holding me back.
Right.
So I would take it off just to climb trees.
Sure. So like when you got the additional leg, which we think is like meant to help you, that was actually a hindrance to
it was a hindrance to me,
Wow.
Yeah, I just couldn't find that road. I was like, So I was taking it off and doing stuff that you were meant to do with that leg on. So it's like, what's right and what's wrong?
Yeah.
Like, do I have it off? Do I have it on? Yeah.
And then other than that, so like you're getting to an age where you've got this, and then you're starting to go to school, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Did you do all your education over in Papua New Guinea?
Yes, I was raised in Papua New Guinea till the age of 13.
Okay.
No, 12, sorry.
Yeah.
And I moved to New Plymouth. But that lifestyle in Papua New Guinea was so good, man.
Yeah.
Like, it was real different. It was that real third world.
Yeah.
As I was saying, in a village in Kokopo, I was staying in a house, in a tin house. But next door to me was like straw house, coconut leaves and all that crap. And that's the place that I would rather stay than in my own house.
Right.
It's because they're called bubu. Bubu?
Yeah.
So a bubu is like an elderly, so respectful elderly that you call. And she pretty much brought me up. Yeah, it was quite cool living in that sort of aspect of life.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the relationship between you and an elderly person, because in our culture it's very normal as well.
Yep.
To some of your parents, or like if your parents have children, some of them are whāngai or given to the grandparents, and that's to raise them.
Yeah, to raise.
But it's like there's aspects of culture that are meant to be embedded, but then you also look after them, but they look after you. So was that a similar thing?
Yeah, it definitely was a similar thing.
Yeah.
At the same time, my parents, I didn't really like hanging around with my parents because sort of young kid thing.
Yeah.
I was a bit of a rebel, but I always loved playing with like bows and arrows, little machetes, cutting around my way around the jungle.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why I preferred it to be at that house than rather than my own, because they had all that stuff, all that good stuff that kids love playing around. Yeah. Sharp objects and all that crap.
So you just love nature?
I love nature.
Yeah.
But being in New Zealand is kind of weird because there's nothing like it. There's no jungle. There's nothing to hunt apart from pigs.
Yeah.
And deer. So.
Wow. Okay. So you moved to New Plymouth.
Yeah.
And that's your home for most of high school?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I went to intermediate year 7 and stayed there till year 13.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then because I always just assumed you were from Dunedin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's just one of those things, man. You only know like what you know of that person in that moment. Yeah. So I met you down here, and just because you had established such a huge friend group, I guess.
Yeah, I did, man.
So I was just like, this guy must be a local, because like the amount of people that knew you. So you came down here. What was the draw to come down here?
Yeah, so through high school, I'll bring this up. So my first year of high school, I wasn't playing in sport or anything. All I was playing was basketball.
Yeah.
And as years went on by, I started picking up different sports like rugby, touch, league, basketball, volleyball. I've played cricket. Every sport you can think of, I've played to a high level.
Yeah.
I remember playing with the Blythes. Do you know Liam Blythe and Cole Blythe and Caleb Blythe? That plays with 7.
Their sister plays New Zealand Sevens. Yeah.
So I used to play with the brothers, the twins, in rugby. I used to do athletics with Michaela Blythe, Zoe Hobbs.
Yeah.
Did athletics with her, Uriah. But I've played with so many high level athletes. It blows my mind. I'm like, wow, it could have been me. Imagine, But no, I'm all good with that. But so I grew up not playing much sport, and the thing that got me into sport was my background from Papua New Guinea.
Right.
And what I built without my leg to make me a natural athlete, I guess. People would say it's talent, but I'll say it's not as talent, because I had to work. I had to do stuff that normal people wouldn't do to get to where I was as a natural athlete, I guess.
Yeah.
But
and that's something, and I like, in terms of your feats of strength, actually, I remember that encounter that we talked about at the start of this, but there was, I think the first thing I ever saw of you remember there was a video of you that went viral, and you did the single leg box jump.
Box jump, yeah.
And that was all on. So you only had your one leg, and just like the amount of power that you were able to produce, it's all starting to make sense now.
Yeah,
since like you felt more comfortable just with that one leg, because that's come on.
Because in that video, I remember taking my leg off because I felt like it was hindering me.
Yeah,
because I was like, nah, if I take one step forward, then I wouldn't be able to load up bigger. I wouldn't have a bigger load up. So I took it off and decided to video it as well.
Yeah.
So,
No, that was cool. I remember when that went viral. I was like, that's unreal. And
it
then
was on Unilad or something.
It was, yeah. Like it went proper viral, not just New Zealand viral, like worldwide viral. So you were talking about athletics, and when you're going through, you're playing team sports, and then athletics is it's weird. It's a semi-hybrid. It's like you're part of a team, but you're an individual athlete. For you, like, how was that difference going from like a solo sport? Going from team sports into that solo environment?
I kind of liked it in the sense that that everyone was there, just cheering for you and supporting you, behind you. In a team sport, everyone's cheering for everyone. Not saying that I'm cocky or anything.
Right.
It's just, it feels good to have someone watch you and just you.
Of course.
Instead of just your whole team. In a sense, my team, everyone in my team is great. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's just having that feeling of people just watching you. And just you. Yeah.
And then just so it can, like, since you're pretty open about it, going out into a team sport and then people taking the immediate look at you. Like, how many times did you just like absolutely school people because they just assumed?
Bro, yeah. So it's been that the whole time I've grown up. Yeah. Because like, everyone thinks of me as an underdog. Yeah. They'll say, "Oh yeah, this guy's fuck all." Yeah. It's because he's got one leg. Yeah. Really rah. But my main goal growing up is to be better than everyone else in the sense of talent-wise, like sports is the only way I could put myself out there, make me feel like I belong. Yeah. But yeah, so growing up, when it came to sports, I was driven for success. Yeah. Because I wanted to be placed at a higher point than normal people. So yeah.
Yeah, and when you were going through that, like, what were the milestones, or for you that you saw as milestones, like coming through your sporting career?
Yeah, milestones were, first off, is making a basketball team with like two-legged people, right, etc., which I did, and then was to make it to a higher level after that, which was making Taranaki under 15s, which I did, making first five, so on and so on and so on. From there, I went to different sports. And I tried every sport that I could just to try keep getting those milestones up. Yeah. And just ticking every boxes that I could. Which there were multiple of them. I was so proud of myself for doing. But at the same time, I think negative about myself to make me stay driven. Right. Because you know how people love to compliment you at certain things you do, that you achieve. I just brush it off to the side because it builds up your head. Right. Well, for me anyway, because it's all personal for me. People are different because everyone's so different. But yeah, I brush everything off to the side. I always think negative to make me stay driven, and that's the way it has always worked for me. Sure. Yeah.
And were there any like moments? Are these thoughts that you have to yourself about like, oh, you could have been better on this, you could have been better on this, or do you come back because like everyone has this origin story, like that moment where they're just like, nah, fuck you, I'm going to be way better. Like, did you have any of those, or was it more self-driven stuff?
No, it was more self-driven. Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely self-driven because I'm not cocky, I'm always humble. Yeah. There's certain things I'll be cocky at, which will be just gaming. But nothing nothing out in the open, like, fuck, I'm a man, all that shit. But nah. That's just it's not me.
Sure. So. No, the gaming chat, though, that's part of the game.
Bro, that is part of the game. It's so toxic. So toxic.
So there's that. And then, like, as you are coming through and then, thinking that you're going to leave home. So you're going to leave something that you've established and you've got a really good group of people. And this is, like I said before, I just assumed you were from here because of the system and, like, this huge group that kind of gathered around you. Yep. What was the draw down here?
So I think the draw was... To me, because I moved to Dunedin on a scholarship to train and study for the Paralympics. Oh, cool. Yeah. The draw for me was, I don't know, I was a real happy person. I smiled to everyone I walked past. Like, just see we hi, hello, we smile. I even say hey just because.
Yeah.
It was the right thing to do, because growing up as a person with one leg, you start to think about what should I say? It's hard to word it because my brain's just not on today. To think what's wrong and what's right. To
like for the interactions that you'd have with other people.
Yeah. Fuck. What should I put it as? But my mind's just so lost at the moment.
No, you're all good.
But
so you're talking about how you just smile with everyone just to to show that that's all good.
Yeah,
like,
it's more about appreciating what you have. So,
cool.
Yeah. Because you don't know what you have until it's gone.
Yeah.
You know that quote or whatever. But me growing up, I'll never have friends or anything to have. So making a smile to someone else can make them feel more welcome. And in that, they can socialise themselves with everyone else around you. Yeah. Which makes an inviting vibe around you.
Sure.
And whoever I hang out with, I introduce, etc., etc. It all just travels. Yeah. So people just know people from me. I'll know people from someone else. Yeah. And just the train goes on. Yeah. That's how I've built a huge friendship around me. So
that's cool.
And I'm quite grateful for it as well.
Absolutely. And I think everyone who's around you knows it's not a fake thing.
No.
It's a positive, you just want everyone else to just be happy around you.
Too right.
And something that when you're talking about this, it makes me really aware that, some of the people who, we're born with everything, right? And we almost have some of the biggest insecurities.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're someone who's walking around with as we would call a disability.
Yeah.
But you're just I'm happy with this. I'm so grateful that this is what I've got. It's always weird because I've had these talks with other people as well who are training and, we would call disabled. But they're some of the most appreciative people and they're just happy with everything. And they're actually exceeding everyone else's expectations. It's such a weird thing.
It is, bro. Because whenever I say, I'm disabled, people will be like, no, you're not. You're actually not. I'm like, bro, I claimed that I'm disabled. Yeah. I say it with pride. I've got one leg. I've things that can suppress me, what I can do. Can barely grab this. I hold my dick with my left hand to make it feel bigger. This is a small hand. Yeah.
Okay. So it actually gives you different abilities.
Exactly,
it gives you greater abilities.
Big powers, bro. Fuck.
So you come.
They caught you off guard.
No, I did. It did. Oh wait, hold on. Before we even keep going, your name's not even handicapped. But
it's Jono.
It's Jono. There we go.
Jonathan.
But you claim it. So I think that's a cool thing about you, and that's why I told that first story is because this is you.
I'm an open book.
Yeah. And on that, so you said you're training for the Paralympics. What were your what were the events or your
So during high school, I entered in 5 different events. So it was 100 meter sprints, 200 meter sprints, high jump, long jump, and shot put.
Sure.
During high school, I hold the 100 meter record.
Right.
200 high jump and long jump record as well.
Wow.
But that was within my disability category.
Yep.
As years went on by, I decided doing all 4, doing all 5 was just taking a tax on me. I wasn't performing the way I wanted. So I cut shot put out. I cut 200 meter sprints out. I was doing 100 and high jump. Right. And I cut, Right. Cut those out. And I also did a relay as well. I think 100 meter relays.
For 100, yeah.
So they were pretty cool. It's pretty good. But yeah, stuck to those 2. All the way through high school. Coming down here for the scholarship and training, I only trained for high jump and not sprints.
Right.
And that's how it went.
So then you came down here, and then how did that whole process go? What were the things that you had to go through to get to the different things, and then in terms of your competitions and whatnot, where did you end up going to?
Yeah, so during that I was put in, I think it's called, what's it called? When you have a group, high performance.
High performance.
Yeah, so the HPNZ.
Yeah.
That centre down there by the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in that, and they put me in a group with people with disabilities that were in the Paralympics. Yeah. Like Anna Grimaldi. Yeah. Liam Malone.
Holly was in there.
Yeah, Holly was in that. Yeah. And Rory McSweeney. Yeah, they're all cool people. And enjoyed it. But that same year that I moved here for athletics to train, I got injured.
No.
Yeah, so I fractured my toe, a stress fracture as well on my other toe. I had concussion as well.
What?
Yeah, because I think I tripped up. I hit a bench and hit my head as well.
Oh.
And that fracture put me out for 2 years. And every time I just tried getting back, it just wouldn't get back.
Yeah.
So it was mentally, I don't know, it was too hard for me mentally.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't do it anymore. I wasn't enjoying it. So yeah, picked up my bag and just left.
So that was that was the end of you.
Yeah, that was the end
athletically.
Of me. Yeah, athletically.
I mean, sorry for doing athletics.
Yeah, because I was in the running of going to Rio, Brazil.
Yeah.
For the Paralympics.
Yeah.
I competed in Australia to get my qualifications.
Yep.
Qualifications? Yeah, my qualifications.
Your qualifying spot.
Yeah, to get my qualifying spot. Which was achievable, and I achieved it through 100-meter sprints.
Yep.
And 7-5 jump.
Right.
I also have to perform in other multiple events.
Sure.
Just to hold my qualifying.
Yep.
Spot, but during that injury, which put me out for 2 years, I could not come back and go straight to Rio.
Wow.
Which is quite annoying.
Yeah.
And I was just it gave me a real good punch in the gut. And I was depressed. I was thinking about myself and how all my support have done so much for me. Yeah. And I just couldn't provide them with what they wanted. Yeah. So it was quite a big hit. But yeah.
And then so in that time, because I've spoken with so many people, I've been that person who you feel like everything's taken away from you.
Yeah,
and
literally.
And like something that you said, which is always for most of us, it's just like so many people have sacrificed for me to be here.
Yeah.
And now I can't produce. Like, how did you get through that? Or how did you, what were the things that you had to reconcile with to push through?
Yeah. So my healing was gym.
Right.
And that's how I became a bodybuilder.
Okay.
Because my parents were still in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
I couldn't talk to them. Yeah, I just broke up with my missus at that year. I couldn't talk to her. I had heaps of friends, but they weren't friends,
Right. You'd say hi to them and hang out with them, but they weren't like people you'd share.
Exactly. They're not close. Close. So I had no one to talk to. So I just shut it in my head, went to the gym, and became big. And it's still in my head. Like I still have those thoughts about I could have been this, could have been that. But at the same time, I can't do anything about it. I can't be sad on what I can't control. Yeah. So I just have to tough it out.
Right. You didn't have that period after most athletes, when they give it, and then they're just like for a year, just like go off the rails, like no training, drinking, all that. Like, did you have that moment at all?
No, I was like at the time when I first moved here. You know how you always have to have a drink and all that stuff with the boys. I done that, but I wasn't off the rails. Yeah. I knew my limits. Cool. Within my reason as well. I wasn't that hard of a drinker anyway. I'm not that hard anymore as well. So I never was really. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah. So you got into bodybuilding, and then this is why because also the bodybuilding scene down here at that time was pretty big. Like there was just such a huge group of people. Just
powerlifters as well. Yeah, massive dudes.
Yeah, just trying. Everyone was just trying to get swole. Yeah, basically. And so you got into that, and you managed to. You ended up competing.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so we'll just talk about that. So getting out of athletics and then moving it into, something like bodybuilding. Yeah. Where it's still an individual pursuit. You have your teams, you have your people who are amping you up and stuff, but a lot of the difficult parts, you're dealing with it by yourself. Yeah. Is this something that you enjoyed?
I loved it, yeah. I absolutely loved it. Just the fact of after hard days of work or studying, I was still depressed at the time. I just wanted to go in the gym and lift some tin and get my mind off it. Yeah. But at that time, your anger is put into your weights, and that's how I became big real quick. Yeah. I wasn't on roids or anything, but it looked like I was on roids because the amount of time that I spent at the gym, and how big I got was insane. But at the same time, I was gymming for 3 hours a day. Yeah. Twice a day, 2 hours a day, twice a day. So it showed. Yeah. Definitely showed.
Because I remember you were going pretty hard, and I don't know if it was you. I can't remember, but you might have gone back home and you might have done, what's his name? Did you do Rich Piana's?
Oh, bro, that was so stupid.
Tell me about that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it was just 4 exercises, just on repeat, and just doing the same thing. They were both exercises were skull crushes.
Yeah.
And just curls as well.
Yeah.
You had to go pretty light. You had to have 8 protein shakes within that 8-hour time.
Yeah.
And it was pretty full on. I think I couldn't feel my arms for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
My nervous system was shocked. And it was probably the most stupidest thing I've ever done.
Right.
Yeah. I'll probably do it again though.
Yeah, of course. But it's just one of those things where like it's looking like anything that you put your mind to physically is something you'll just go for.
Yeah, definitely. Once it's in my mind and once I want to do it, I'll definitely go for it.
And then during that bodybuilding time, was there anything, I guess because like you'd been training for so long, but then this is a different type of training, was it, I don't know, for you, was it challenging enough in terms of like, you're moving from doing these cool athletic things to like very small movements? Yeah.
It wasn't as challenging because to a point it was, but to a point it wasn't. In the aspect of me trying to achieve something was hard, but when it came to the gym and doing the mahi, no, it wasn't as hard because you'll have it's more technical in athletics because of all your movements that you do. But in the gym it is technical as well. But most of the time you just lift in just for the sake of it. Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about it, eh? Like you can, and most times when you're doing something that's athletic, you want to make sure that you're doing everything right so that you can perform the task that you want. But and like you wouldn't just go like, oh, I'm gonna go do some sprints because my head hurt, like because I've like had a long day. But you could just go and work out, like without pretty much like not too much detrimental things that could happen. Yeah. So for you, when you were training, when did you decide, like, from going to bodybuilding that you're actually going to compete?
I think it was 2 years while gymming.
Right.
I met a fellow called Shane Berlin.
Yep.
He trained at Uniport. He was in Australia at the time, and he hit me up down that he's coming back to Dunedin.
So you didn't know him before he went?
No, I didn't. He followed me on Instagram.
Because he's big time influencer.
Yeah.
So he approached you.
Yeah, he approached me on Instagram and said, "Do you want to train?" And turns out that Mitch Cuddy was there as well. And we had a group training together. It was quite cool. And he was like, "Oh, you should let me train you." And we'll see how you go in bodybuilding. I said, "Yep, sweet, done." And it was my story of how it all started, I guess, which was from Shane Berlin. So
so then that goes. You decide to do a show, and then how long until the show and the prep, and then we'll just walk us through that.
Yeah, so the show was in, I think it was September. My first show was called Naba.
Yeah,
and my second was, I think it was 4 weeks after that, maybe 3.
Yeah,
and that was in Queenstown, RMBA.
Yeah,
I think my prep was only 4 weeks or 6 weeks.
Sure.
Because I was already quite lean.
Right.
Because apparently people for one leg burn 75% more energy than people
really?
And that's why I'm so lean all year round. But I found it on the internet because I'm like, fuck, how am I so skinny every time?
Yeah.
All year round, I'm so skinny. So I just looked up how much calories do people burn with one leg, etc., etc. Right. And they said, you burn 75% more energy. I'm like, no, what?
All right.
So, I don't have a hindrance. I have something that helps me.
That's what I mean. You always have your greater abilities.
Yeah. Literally.
For that sort of stuff. And then, so you decide to do those 2 shows. Mm-hmm. You're pretty lean already. What do you then have to change from your everyday life to get you prepped to go on stage? Because that's like a next level
it
sort
is,
of
bro.
thing. Yeah.
So at the time I was working at New World.
Yeah.
What was I doing? Stacking shelves.
Shelves? Yeah, I remember that.
Shelves,
I remember those days.
Pretty sure I was stacking shelves. I went to stacking shelves to a bakery or some shit.
Yeah.
But so it's quite easy to maneuver around my job.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that hard to implement in.
Yeah.
Which was good. It took, fuck, how much calories was, I couldn't even remember, bro. It was fuck all, but I think I was eating cucumbers.
Yeah.
Because I don't eat vegetables, bro.
Yeah.
I'm allergic by choice.
Okay, yeah.
So, all I was eating was just cucumber, just watery stuff, watermelon.
Yeah.
And I'll just do cardio, sweat it out, go to sauna, sweat it out. But it was good. It was fun. I loved it. But at the same time, I'm like, stacking shelves, but I'm like, oh, yeah, man, this is a mean job. Yeah, cool.
And what other things did you notice, like in your body, and like when you're getting to that depleted stage?
Oh yeah, when I was depleted, bro, I just couldn't be fucked. I was mad. I was just in a bad mood constantly, but at the same time, I was happy because I'm like doing this for a reason.
Yeah,
because there's always good and the bad.
Yeah,
as people say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a weird thing, with struggle, when people, if you're struggling but you don't have anything to look to, it's like, this sucks.
It does.
But it's like, when you have a purpose, like you said, the struggle is not really a struggle. It's kind of like, all right, this is necessary to get through to something.
For sure.
Yeah,
and that's how you have to kind of look on life in hard moments.
100%.
Yeah,
because if you're just struggling and you don't see an end point, you're just like, why am I even doing this?
Exactly, bro.
Yeah,
there's no point in doing it if there's not a bright side,
Yeah, and then through this, so you end up competing. So tell us about your first comp. How did that go? And for you, like on comp day, because I've talked about this with other bodybuilders that I've had on, and they say that like you look like you're the greatest version of yourself of all time.
Yeah.
But how you feel is completely the opposite. So how did you feel?
I felt like shit. I looked like shit.
Right.
But yeah, people said I looked mean, but to me, I didn't see it. Just self-expectation. Which got me. I felt like I looked pretty bad, but at the time, I looked good. I came second in that comp, but 3 weeks later, I went to INBA and I ended up winning that comp, which was good. And I qualified for Las Vegas or some shit for the INBA, which is a natural bodybuilding.
Yeah.
But then again, that same year, you never guess what happened.
What happened?
I fucked my shoulder, bro.
No.
Yeah, I fucked my shoulder. I couldn't train for I think 6 months.
Yeah.
And it's still quite stuff. Like never do that. Clicks.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
And that was, so you didn't end up going to Las Vegas.
I didn't end up going to Las Vegas.
Holy shit.
Yeah, again in depressing game.
Yeah. And it's so to get through that, because now this is where, so in most cases you can kind of train around stuff.
Yeah.
But like when you get injured to this extent, you start feeling like, oh no, like now my outlet, I can't even do that much anymore. So how was that? Because this is a different level of being like upset. Yeah,
bro. Because previous I still had the athletics thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
And now I have this happening to me. It's just like bunched into one. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck my life. But I can't really remember how I took it on the chin, but somehow I did.
Yeah.
I didn't go to anyone. I was still depressed. I'm pretty sure I was suicidal. I know I was.
Yeah.
I was suicidal at the time because you're in that moment and how you have two things hit you that you could have been something. You could have been up there with all the greats or something. It really did take a big toll on me. I'm still not over it.
Yeah.
But it's just a small healing process, bro.
Right.
But yeah. Like again, you can't really get mad about something you can't control.
Right.
Or sad, but it's kind of tough not to get sad about it.
Yeah, and in the moment, like you're gonna feel all those emotions. And, like you can tell yourself all these cool things because that's the cool thing about reflection, right? You look back and you're like, oh man, like that sucked, but I'm doing this stuff now. But in the moment, bro, when it hit you, it hit you.
It fucking hit you, right?
Yeah. And like, did you allow yourself that time to be upset with it, or like, did you just kind of try to ignore it, or like, what was that like?
I never tried ignoring things that came to me.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, it's not good to ignore things.
Yeah.
It's good to address it in your own head and move on. So to me, I addressed it at the time. I didn't let it sit in my head because I was always occupied with things I needed to do. In terms of work, still gymming, doing legs. I could still go see mates, drink.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was never in that room by myself. Just stuck going through thoughts.
Sure.
So yeah, I was quite grateful for that.
Right. So it sounds like that wasn't the only thing going on in your life. Like you still had other things going on too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I had multiple things going on that I can't remember. I can't put my finger on. But what was it? But yeah, we'll carry on and I'll think of it.
For sure, man. Yeah. For sure. So you oh my gosh, I can't. So you do the first one. And then you end up doing the second one. Then I think it's that feeling of I could have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like for you, how do you just be like, well, it's not, because you did say, you know, you can't get too mad or sad about those things you can't control, but like, when do you actually start fully believing that, okay, well, this is the plan and I'm okay, and like moving on from that?
I haven't really moved on from it.
Yeah.
So I don't know when it'll come.
Yeah.
I guess now I'm in a job I'm quite high up in.
Yeah.
I could just say, well, that's that. I'm in a good position now.
Cool.
Just move on from that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still at the back of your head. Like, fuck, man, come on.
But still, like, I think you could at some point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. At some point soon, I
Yeah.
definitely can move past it. I feel like I am almost there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then even, like, to give it another crack.
Yeah.
Like, would you ever consider
I
it?
would definitely consider giving either a crack.
Yeah.
But yeah. But at the same time, as I'm in at my job, it's kind of hard because I do forestry.
Yeah.
With silviculture, it's all physically taxing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to get home from work and go to the gym, or get home from work and go train.
Sure.
So, but at the same time, it's definitely doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about your job, because that's like forestry. Yeah, like you said before, it is physically demanding, but like proper physically demanding. So like in terms of, how do you even get into that sort of work? Like, is this something that you were wanting to do, or is this just something that just like hit you out of nowhere?
It was random as because I was working. Oh, so it's a different story. I went back to New Plymouth to work for my old high school.
Okay.
As a teacher aide.
Right.
And I was like, no, I had enough of it. It's too boring here.
Yeah.
So I moved back to Dunedin, and I was stuck for a job. I was like, fuck, what do I do for a job?
Yeah.
So I had up working income. So you can take this course. I was like, oh, yeah, weird. Forestry.
Yeah.
Never heard of it before. And that's how I got the job. I got interviewed, and the funny thing was, my boss was never going to hire me because of my leg.
Right.
Yeah, but I think my supervisor that was there at the time, I said, nah, look at his records. Like, he's a Paralympian. He does all this stuff. He does sports and all that crap. And yeah, I ended up being one of the best workers there. Wow. It's good. And now I'm in a good position just from it. So. Yeah.
And then what type of opportunities, or not just opportunities, but types of work that you're doing now that you never would have seen yourself doing?
So at the moment we're planting trees. Well, we just finished planting trees.
Yeah.
We plant pines and Douglas fir.
Yeah.
And we're planting in stuff deeper than that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like, I don't know how I get across the hill with my one leg, but I do somehow. I just hop.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got like burnt gorse we plant through it. I wouldn't see myself pruning trees or thinning to waste.
Yeah.
So and that's what we do as silviculturists.
Sure.
Yeah.
And do you find, now this is something like on the other end of things, is like for your own mental clarity, the fact that you're not at a desk job, and you're like in nature.
Bro, you're actually, there's so much freedom in the job.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me of being back home in Papua New Guinea, because you're out in the wilderness and you're like, fuck, this is mean. Yeah.
It's almost like a weird, like, pulled you back thing.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good for my health as well.
Yeah.
Like, my mind is free.
Yeah.
You know?
And then we had like some of the worst snow here a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, bro. Don't bring it up.
So you had to work through that?
Yeah, we had to work through that. But at the time, I think, we were in Hanmer Springs.
Right.
But it was still snowing there. We were planting trees, and it was the shittest ground ever. But we had to stop. We had to wait till the snow dried off.
Sure.
It just didn't, so we still went in and just worked in it.
Yeah, and in terms of opportunities, and like you said, you're getting quite high up there in your job. Like, what types of things are you looking forward to being able to do?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm a foreman. I do quality control as well. The next step is operations manager, which I am a part of as well.
Yeah.
And that's the highest of the high. That I see myself going into anyway.
Yep.
I wouldn't go any further because then I have to open my own contract and have my own business.
Yeah.
But that's just admin. So, yeah. But I love my boss at the moment, bro. So, yeah. I'll probably stay with him for a wee bit.
That's pretty cool, man. And your appreciation for nature is something that you've always had. Yep. But right now, like, do you find that it's taken you even further than your initial appreciation?
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Sorry? Like, just like being able to be out in nature, like just realizing how good it is for you?
Yeah, bro. Nature is what has built me. Like, being back home in Papua New Guinea, I haven't been back ever since I moved here to New Zealand. So I'm hoping to go back next year. Yeah. To see my parents as well. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a big factor in my life. Yeah.
So just like with that, so you move over here. Did you go to boarding school here?
No. So I moved to. Oh, well, I didn't even tell you this. So when I moved to New Zealand at the age of 12, I moved here with my mum, my sister and I.
Right.
And I think after 2 years, my mum moved back, and it was just me and my sister.
Right.
And that's how you learn to appreciate things, and when you learn to mature.
Yeah.
And that's how I matured early, because it was poor. Like, we couldn't really buy anything we wanted, you know. You buy what you need and not what you want, etc., etc. You appreciate everything that you have, and it was real hard to deal with emotionally as well, because you never had your parents to hug.
Yeah.
I remember going through this real tough time, and I was like, fuck, I really want to hug my mum or my dad.
Yeah.
And I just started bawling my eyes out and not realising that I loved and I needed my parents. But it was good. Yeah. It was good to learn those things early in life instead of having to deal with it afterwards.
Yeah. Yes. For sure. I mean, because like this is something that I know, as hard as it is for people to hear, and you know, talking about this, it sounds like you're like, oh man, you know, poor dude. But
I don't want your sympathy. Get out of here.
But people in their 30s and 40s are only starting to realize now, like that had a huge impact on them, and they're just wondering like, why can't I connect? Why did all these things? Why do I have so much like anger and blah blah? Yeah, and it's because they never realized that part of them. But like for you to realize that early is almost like the biggest blessing.
It is. It definitely is. It taught me so much about life. Especially when needing your parents in a certain moment, you're just like, well, I can't really do anything else. Like, I give so much sympathy to people that have no mum or dad. Yeah. That have had their parents pass. So big ups to them. Yeah.
And so your time in New Zealand then basically has just been like you've just grown up without your parents here?
Yeah, it was just my sister and I. I had a nana as well that was living with us, but she had a downstairs apartment.
Right.
And she'll only come up just to cook for us or something and just go back down. It was just my sister and I.
Wait, so as soon as your mum left, you guys became adults?
Pretty much, bro. Pretty much. Yeah, at the age of, 14, 15?
Sure.
Yeah, 15, 16. Probably 15, 16 sounds about right.
Right. So that adds another element to all of this.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I keep forgetting to bring things up.
No, that's all good. Yeah. Because I guess you've been through it. So like to be able to recall it, you're just like, oh, that's right, that happened. And
things happen. Yeah. For sure.
So for that, going through and feeling like you can go through all of this, but then just having those moments of needing your parent or needing someone who can look after you in those times. Is this is that the last time that you had seen your parents or your mum at least?
No, so they come to New Zealand every now and then, probably once every 4 years, maybe 3 years.
Right.
But I just recently saw them. I was in New Plymouth. I think a couple of weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, yeah. But the saddest thing happened, bro. Fuck. So the last day that my parents were to go, me and my sister dropped them off to the airport. And the flight got delayed, or the boarding time got delayed by 2 hours. Yeah. And my sister needed to go to work. So I was like, oh yeah, we'll go back. I'll grab my car and I'll come back to the airport. My sister and my parents gave each other hugs and said goodbyes. I went home without saying goodbye. Yeah. I was like, just leaving my house. My dad texted me saying, oh, the boarding time has been moved. So you have to board soon. I was like, oh, fuck, here we go, just my luck. Please be the last people to board so I can make it in time. Yeah. Because it's like 15, 20 minutes away from New Plymouth. And, I was raging, bro. I was like honking my horn, getting the biggest road rage, swearing at everyone, flipping everyone off. And I just got out of New Plymouth. As soon as I got out, my parents texted me, sorry, son, we're on the plane and we're just about to leave, and I just lost my shit. Yeah. I got the biggest road rage. I sped home, got home, I just sat there, I was like, fuck me. Yeah. I just started bawling my eyes out, Yeah. Because I love my parents so much. But yeah, because they've done so much for me. Yeah. In the sense of not giving me sympathy or like babying me, they've still done so much for me, and that's like heaps. Yeah.
Man. This is like, there's so many different stories that you've told, and it's just like real movie-like.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, because it was just like, as soon as you say to me, you wouldn't believe what happened, I'm like, I actually can't believe.
But yeah, there's so many things that have happened that I can't recall that mean a lot to me, that have taught me a lot of stuff. It'll be more than my hands can count, more than both our hands combined and our toes. Yeah. So I've learned through a lot of stuff. Of bad stuff, and not so much bad, but just teachings.
Yeah. And then through that, so like
adversity. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
adversity.
I mean, you brought up Mitch Kelly before, and he like a lot of what he does is he looks for the adversity to be able to get through it, to show himself that he's strong.
Too right.
And I feel like that that's just something that it's not even that you go looking for it. It's just that all these things have been happening. And what I do like, and what I think I have a new appreciation for with your stuff is that what we see as normal is like, okay, you only had one leg, but like you got another leg to try help, which other people would think would actually help you, but it's actually more like of a hindrance that we talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
But like for you, that's because anything that's normal for you is going to be your normal.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that we need to and then people can't baby you because you just need to figure out your own way.
Yeah.
I feel like we actually, as like able-bodied people, need to we need to take that into consideration and stop like thinking that other people who aren't like us need to be like us.
Yeah, too right.
Yeah.
Because they're their own person. Everyone is their own person in their own way.
Yeah.
I've got a tattoo here. It says persevere.
Right.
And it really describes me to a T. Because I persevere through everything I've been through.
Yeah.
And it actually describes a lot of you people out there as well. Through your adversities. So
no, I like that, man. I really, really like that. So for you, going forward in the next little bit, you're still really young.
I am.
Like, I know it's easy to be like, I'm getting old, I'm getting old and all that sort of stuff. But like the opportunities and things that are coming up to be able to do, and also like by the sounds of things, like physically, you're doing pretty well.
Yep.
Yeah. So do you have anything else on the horizon? So, but obviously you're going to keep climbing at mahi.
Yep.
But for you, like physical pursuits, is there anything that you're hoping to do?
Yeah, so physically, because I was reminiscing on my Instagram, looking at my old photos of when I was a bodybuilder, and I was thinking of getting back into it. So I've been back to the gym for 2 months, 3 months.
Sure.
So I might do a show in maybe 2 years, 2 years time, see where that gets me. And in that same thing, I'll probably just try get back into athletics as well, because I still have my leg, my blade, those blades that you wear.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, and now that's going to be something that I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be wanting to ask about. So I'll do it so that you can tell everyone, all right? So with getting prosthetics and all that sort of stuff, what is actually the process of getting one, but then getting them like maintained and then getting like ones that look more real and ones that are for athletics? So can you just talk us through that process?
Yeah, so I'll talk about the normal one to start with. So I'll show it to you guys. So this one.
There we go.
So this one I go to a limb centre.
Okay.
Which we have one in Dunedin.
Right.
Believe it or not. So a limb centre, and they measure your right leg. So make a sketch around it.
Sure.
And they put foam in it. They'll grab like a, how you get what's it, casts?
Casts, yeah.
Yeah. They'll put that stuff around the leg.
Right.
And
to make like a mould.
Yeah, a mould of where your stump can fit in.
Right.
Yeah, and then they'll make a sketch around your leg and your foot.
Wow.
And they'll create it into a prosthetic, which is weird. And now the blades, that takes probably a year to 2 years, maybe.
Right.
Probably a year.
But only like athletes would get those?
Yeah, athletes will get those. It's more biomechanically made for you.
Yeah.
I guess because I think they go through testings from what your real leg will provide.
Yeah.
So the power that it creates, I guess. And they'll manufacture it to be one of those springy ones, I guess.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to explain.
Sure. No, but they're like the little...
I'm stupid with that shit.
Yeah. He's the wrong person to talk about.
That's why I'm in forestry.
But like with that, over time, I'm guessing, like, how often would they try to refit you to make sure that it's even?
So probably once a year, I get a new leg.
Yeah.
I think when I was growing up, it was close to 3 times a year.
It would have had to be because of how fast you grow, right?
How fast I grew and how fast I wrecked them from sports as well, because I wrecked quite a few.
Sure.
Also, I wrecked them from drinking out of it as well. You know how you have like shoeies? You have leggies.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but fuck, it's fun. But yeah, probably once a year.
Cool.
Nowadays. So.
Yeah. And then when you do have to readjust to them, like, is there the way that they fit? Are they pretty snug to start with, or is there like growing pains? Like, how does that go?
Nah, so different legs have different pressure points that hurt your bone, and you end up getting like rashes or like bruised bones.
Yeah.
So you can't walk in it, so you have to take it off and just walk without it.
Right.
But yeah, every leg is different. This one put a lot of pressure on my my shin.
Right.
And when I do leg extensions, it just kills it. So
yeah.
I just have to switch legs. I'll probably have about 7 legs at home.
Okay.
Do you want one?
Yeah, sure. Right. I'll take one.
I'll take a leg. Fuck
yeah.
you.
And then being able to like kitting them out as well.
What's it say?
Kitting them out
for
yourself, like being able to chuck a shoe on and all that. Like that's all.
It's
all
so admin. Yeah, it's admin, but at the same time, you have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So put your own shoe on. Mate.
For sure.
But I'm pretty sure I take my leg off and then put my shoe on, then put it back on.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is a daily thing.
Yeah, daily thing, bro. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah. But you're used to it.
Used to it. First nature. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I think, like, I reckon there's so many people who've just wanted to talk about it or, like, know the difference as well. And because you're all going to be different. Like, the points at where, you don't have the limb is going to be different for every single person.
Oh,
so
for sure.
The fitting process is probably similar, but how they actually go about it is going to be different as well.
Very different to everyone else, yeah.
Yeah. And could you ever, like, ask for bigger calves?
Oh, definitely. Hell yes. I can put a tattoo on it as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
We could get some art on it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, because that would be, if I could do something like that, I would just ask for the biggest calves of all time.
Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you what though, if I had 2 legs, I would probably be fat.
You reckon?
I reckon, bro. If I had 2 legs, I'll be an opposite person.
So you reckon this is like a lot of what you have now is due to this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everything I have now is because of my leg.
Yeah.
Like, everything that went through my life, I would have dealt with it differently, or I would have had different experiences.
Sure.
Because I won't be the person I am now.
Yeah.
So I definitely wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. That's so cool. That is so cool. And I think it gives you a new perspective, Like gives
on life?
Yeah. It should give a lot of us a new perspective on life. Like I said before, the insecurities that a lot of us have. And, we're born with what people would consider like normal abilities, but we still are just like some of the saddest people. Literally, and we think that it's so hard for us. But then there's examples like yourself where you're just like, okay, well, I wasn't born with what you got, but I actually am excelling at all the stuff that you could be doing, but you're just too, Yeah,
everyone has it different, bro. Anyone has had it worse. Everyone has had it easier. It doesn't really matter. You're all just different people,
100%.
Just a life.
Yeah,
appreciate what you have, man.
That's such a cool outlook. That's such a cool outlook. And there's something that I ask everyone on the podcast to wrap it up, and that's just, what is something that you do every day or close to every day that helps you feel like you've optimized the day? To
optimize the day is waking up.
Nice.
I feel because I have insomnia, so like. You know what insomnia is?
Yeah, I remember your stories where you'd just be up at the craziest times.
Yeah, bro. And just being up was my big factor because I loved appreciating life and being in the moment. So insomnia was bad, but at the same time appreciate it because I was awake. Yeah.
Far out. So just like when you are awake and when you are able to go out and do stuff, like, are you just appreciating that?
Yeah,
fact?
I'm just stuck in that moment, bro, because I'll be going out for a longboard to skate. Yeah. At 4 a.m. in the morning, I'll go to the gym at 4 a.m. in the morning. I'll do whatever I want. I'll go for a run. Yeah. And I'll just appreciate that moment of being in the present. In the present. So yeah.
That's so cool, man. And I think everyone who's listening is definitely going to get a lot of a perspective shift. Yeah. And it's a really good time to be able to do it. I think in terms of the year as well, like we've just come out of the coldest time of all time. Yeah. And we're moving into a time where we can start to put this stuff forward. And I think the smallest thing of just being appreciative of what we've got, and just because of this story and you being able to tell that, it's been amazing, man. Oh, I've really appreciated that.
I appreciate you having me.
No, so hopefully we get to see you climbing and see you get back into everything else.
Yep, fingers crossed. Hopefully, no more injuries.
No more injuries. Oh, and we'll make sure that
touch wood.
Yeah, we'll touch wood. And we'll make sure that if you do get any injuries or if you do start to feel any niggles, we'll go get it checked out.
Yeah. Make sure. Can you leg? Can you head?
Yeah, man. But I've really, really appreciated your time. Thank you for coming in. And I'll share everything about where you're at and where we can find you. I really appreciate it, brother.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, bro.